إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون who believe in the unseen and observe prayer and spend out of what we have provided for them.
The dictionary don't start in Darsul. See in translation of the verse we don't read now that the one then we believe in the unseen, and they observe their prayer and they spend out of what God Almighty don't provide for them.
We have already discussed the difficult meanings and root words of this verse.
See, already we don't discuss the difficult meaning, the root words of this particular verse here in the last program.
So today, inshallah, we will discuss about the commentary.
See, today, inshallah, we will discuss about the commentary of this particular verse here.
In this verse, three important qualities of a muttaqi have been mentioned.
See, inside this verse, three qualities of a muttaqi in the don't discuss about.
Number one, a believer in the unseen.
Number one, that believer will be say he believe in the unseen.
Number two, steadfast in prayer.
And the second one, he be steadfast in the prayer.
And number three, spending out of what God has provided for him.
The third one, and when they spend out of what God Almighty don't provide for them.
Of these, the first relates to faith or belief, which must always come first.
You see, among them, where the first one, they talk about faith and always for being number one.
The other two relate to actions.
The other two one them, they talk about the work of a man.
Belief in the unseen does not mean blind belief or belief in things which cannot be grasped or understood.
You see, for belief in the unseen, it not mean say for believe blindly or for believe within them when we say they not get reality.
Nothing can be further from the spirit of the Quran than to imagine that it demands from Muslims belief which reason and understanding do not support. Nothing can be further from the spirit of the Quran than I imagine that it demands from Muslims belief which the reason and understanding do not support.
This now something we be say what the demand from the Muslim men for believe in the thing we be say the
Quran does not wants from a believer which is not supported by the proof or understanding.
He say the Quran, the belief we don't demand from the believer nothing we be say he gets a proof and also nothing we say he understandable.
The Quran strongly denounces such beliefs.
The Quran is strongly denounce this type of belief.
True faith, according to it, is that which is supported by reason and argument.
He said true faith, nothing will be say he gets his own support with argument.
Moreover, the word ghaib, unseen, used in the Quran does not mean as assumed by some hostile critics.
He said the word al-ghaib, the unseen. He said the kind way out the Quran they use them, not to the kind way out the critics don't they take up.
But real and verified things.
But now something we see, if you talk about reality and things that way we say well verified.
The word ghaib means things which, though beyond the comprehension of human senses, can nevertheless be proved by reason or experience.
The word guide, when are unseen, it means
The word gab means things which, though beyond the comprehension of human senses, can nevertheless be proved by reason or experience.
the word guide, it means that although it is beyond the comprehension of mortal man, your mind, your understanding, but it not mean say, you know, they understand the word guide.
The supersensible need not necessarily but irrational. Nothing of the unseen which a Muslim is called upon to believe is outside the scope of reason.
Nothing not the by the unseen, where the Lord call the Muslim for making you believe in what we say, it is out of reason.
There are many things in the world which, though unseen, are yet proved to exist by invincible arguments.
You see, but putting it in the world, where we see, we not really see them, but now till the way they go for proof with convincing arguments.
But nobody can deny their existence.
Nobody know the way they deny their own existence.
God cannot be perceived by the physical senses, nor for that matter can angels or life after death.
You see, God Almighty, we not go for see with physical senses, and the same thing again with the angels and the life after death.
The words "yuminuna bil ghaibi," who believe in the unseen, may also mean that the faithful discharge their duties and perform their acts of worship without a bargaining spirit.
You see, yu'minuna bil ghaib can also mean that the faithful one them, they don't believe in the unseen without, they don't bargain with the spirit.
They suffer hardships, undergo tribulations, and make sacrifices not for the sake of any visible or immediate reward, but out of a selfless desire to serve the large and, as it were, invisible cause of community or country or humanity at large.
You see, when it is said the believers then they struggle hard, they undergo hardship, suffering for the belief we don't believe in, you see, it just sounds like where somebody will struggle hard, work very hard for the progress of in community or in country.
Another meaning of the word ghaib, as given, is the state of being hidden from the public eye.
The other meaning of al-ghaib, na something we be say hidden from the public, you don't see, you don't eye.
In this sense, the expression would mean that the faith of a true believer is ever firm and steadfast, whether he is in the company of other believers or is alone.
You see, this in this sense, it don't mean say the faith of a believer is ever strong and firm, whether it is in the company of other believers them or it is in one way.
The faith that needs constant watching and exhortation is not worth much.
The faith will be say always in the tight marking and for the always begin for advisor, talk to the bio, see and they not get much work.
True and real faith has roots deep in the heart of the faithful and lives by itself.
The true and real faith, now that one will be say it is deep in my heart and always you do things by yourself.
The second quality of muttaqi relates to actions.
The second quality of muttaqi relates to the actions.
Yuqimuna salata.
When yuqimuna salata.
According to the different meanings of aqama salat, as I explained last week, the expression observe prayer would mean that a Muslim should observe prayer throughout his life, keeping constant vigil over them.
You see, as we explained last week, the meaning of this word is salah, yukimuna salah. You see, this means that a Muslim for constantly observe in prayers and if for look after in prayers always.
In fact, irregular prayers are no prayers.
In fact, we in the court in prayers them than they not to pray at all.
Another meaning of Yukimuna Salata, that he should say prayers regularly at their appointed hours and in accordance with the rules prescribed for them.
The other meaning of Yukimuna Salata, now for observe prayer regularly according to the prescribed the time we don't fix for the prayers.
The third meaning is that he should say his prayers in a true spirit and not allow them to be spoiled by wandering thoughts which may disturb and distract his attention.
The other meaning that for observe prayers constantly, regularly, and if for focus your attention for the prayer, for allow yourself for begin for think about worldly affairs or attendance.
Fourth meaning that he should say his prayers in congregation.
The other meaning that for offer a prayer with the Jama.
And fifth meaning is that he should also exhort others to say their prayers regularly and thus help to spread the habit.
The number 5 meaning that we in or able now for offer your own prayers constantly, for move another step ahead, for tell other people for making campaign, for be regular and constant for observing prayers.
All these meanings they fall under this word Akama Salata, Yukimuna Salata.
You see all the meanings here we don't give them fall under this word here, Yukimuna Salata.
Prayer is not a form of bargaining with God. Prayer is not a form of bargaining with God.
You see prayer not to a form where it can be given for talk price with God Almighty.
Islam strongly condemned this idea and deserved prayer as a purifying agent for man himself.
You see, Islam, you don't condemn that ideology, and which is the one from the believer, the Mutaman, for make you pray to God Almighty and take him for say, you do him for purify yourself.
Through worship, man attains certainty of knowledge.
Through worship, Mutaman, they able for attain certainty of knowledge,
which dispels doubt and helps to establish a real and living contact between him and his creator.
We see when he do that day, he will forget a strong relationship and true connection with his own creator, with God Almighty.
There is a tendency to condemn institutional worship as useless and ceremonial.
And he say it's possible for men to take the worship as something we say useless and for being something just ceremonial.
Worship is an attitude of the mind and should be conformed strictly to it.
Worship, nothing we say, it deal with the mind and for strict to what's that.
There is no doubt that attitude belongs to the mind, and if the mind is corrupt, humility of the body can be of no avail.
And attitude is relate with the mind and worship as well. So therefore, if that is corrupt, it will also corrupt the way of worship.
A person whose heart is unimpressed by the majesty and glory of God and who yet sings his praise is a hypocrite. A person whose heart is unimpressed by the majesty and glory of God and who yet sings his praise is a hypocrite.
The person will be see in not they believe in the majesty, the bigness, the greatness of God Almighty and begin for sing the praises of God Almighty. Such a person is a hypocrite, a monarchic.
But so also is the person who claims to accept a certain truth, yet his body and behavior show no sign of it. That a person, he accepts some belief or something, but his actions, his behavior, they don't show anything about that.
Now, so bad, that person will be say, he don't talk say he don't believe in certain things, he don't accept the faith, but in actions and in body language, all they tell you for say, what they do, not to say it be at all, it's not much.
When a person is in love, his face betrays a strange emotion when the beloved appears before him.
When somebody don't in love, in face in change with different emotions when in beloved one can come in front of her.
Parents fondle and kiss their children, and friends express their affection by visible movements.
You see, we don't see the kumbaradem where they play with them, beginning they kiss them, and friends them also can express their own likeness with them, body them in different way.
These demonstrations of affections are spontaneous, not assumed.
And then different way here for show likeness, not to something we say just they assume.
It is therefore impossible that a man should love God and entertain a true longing for Him, but should not seek to express this love or longing by some outward acts.
Therefore, they don't advise Motaman for making you get a true love for God Almighty and make not just do a pantap no more.
Beside other advantages, prayers in congregation, as Muslim prayer always are, foster the spirit of brotherhood.
And apart from other blessings and reward we did by the prayer, you see, we they come together and pray as a Jama'ah, then they bring unity and brotherhood among them.
5 times a day, believers, both rich and poor, have to stand unceremoniously together, shoulder to shoulder, and offer their humble supplication to Allah.
See, 5 times for the day, the believers them, the bina, the poor one them, the rich one, the small one, the big one, they all eating up without any protocol, shoulder to shoulder, and offer them prayers.
Incidentally, it may also be remarked that the outward form of the Islamic prayer includes all the poses of the body expressive of humility.
You see, it don't happen in this way as well that when you look at the Islamic way of prayer, you see all the limbs, the parts of the body, they don't include them for making them worship and pray to God Almighty.
For example, standing with folded arms, bowing, prostrating, and sitting with folded knees.
For example, where it is up, you fold your hand down, where it is you hold your knee, and take it come at the sajda or you sit down, and you put all of them. I don't make mention of them.
So all these poses, they express humility in a man.
See all entire way we see we do na the prayer in the salat, it show what a man your humility, your humbleness.
Besides the prescribed prayer, one is free to pray in one's own words and one's own way.
Apart from the prescribed prayers in Arabic, somebody after we don't read them throughout the day, he can also pray in your own local language as well.
The third party, وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ. The expression they spend out of what we have provided for them includes not only spending in the cause of Allah, but also spending for the welfare of the individual and the community.
You see, the other part of the verse where they talk about, for say that they spend out of what God Almighty don't provide for them, you see, this not only means where they spend their own wealth for the sake of Allah the Almighty, they spend on the cause of Allah the Almighty, but they do also for the welfare of themselves and the community.
The words used here are used in their widest possible sense. Wealth, power, influence, physical and intellectual capacities. In short, all that one may receive from Allah must be devoted, partly at least, to the well-being of others.
You see, it be now wealth, it be money, be sense, any good thing so far where you don't receive from God Almighty, for make sure say use them in the best interest of other people.
The beneficiaries of this injunction are not confined to the poor alone.
The one them where they get benefit from this instruction, not only the poor people.
All who have claims over the belongings of a Muslim are entitled to a share in them.
Or the one them where we see they don't get that entitlement to the Muslims that what they get. They say themselves they in this category as well for make them get benefit out of it.
The injunction applies to a mother who gives suck to her child, to a father who spends upon the education and upbringing of his children.
The instruction they also did for that Umrah where they suckle in Pekin. They also did for that part where they spend in the education of in Pekin.
To a husband who provides for the needs of his wife, and to the children who serve their parents.
He also did for the husband, the man, where they say he provide for the home, and he picking them. He also did for them where they serve and parents them.
The commandment is explained in the famous hadith.
This instruction, they explain that inside one famous hadith.
The Holy Prophet ﷺ said, "Yourself has a claim upon you, and your Lord has a claim upon you, and your guest has a claim upon you, and your family has a claim upon you. So you should give to everyone his due."
You see, the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam don't explain inside this hadith say that your self get a right over you, and God Almighty get right over you. Your family, you guess them, they all get right over you. So now for make sure say you give each and everyone your right.
So inshallah we will continue from the next verse.
So inshallah we will continue from the next class.
Assalamu alaikum.